Hello, hello. Welcome back to another episode of A Tall Glass of Sass. You already know who it is, your girl Molly. It is so great to be back. And let me just share a little bit of like my inside brain here for you. Okay, so this morning I was getting ready and I thought to myself, like, you know, I knew I wanted to come back to the podcast because number one, that is something that I just love recording a podcast. I love guesting on podcasts. And you all as my community, you guys are amazing. You guys are wonderful. I love you. So that's number one. But number two, one thing about me is when I have my heart set on something, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to fucking do it. I don't overthink it. This is one of those things where it's like, for me, if I want to go ahead and I want to have this relaunch, it's gonna happen. I'm not going to overthink it. It's so much so that one of my frameworks in my Catalyst Group program is easy, simple, and exciting. And so I, against the better judgment and recommendation of my podcast manager, and also, of course, I put together, I was like, hey, AI, I gave it a prompt, like, give me a plan week by week, what your recommendations would be for my podcast relaunch. And it gave me this whole thing. And I looked at it, I'm like, oh, that's cute. Yeah, we're not doing that. We're just going to click record. We're going to say, I'm back. And then we're just going to do the damn thing. And that's me. That is absolutely a strength, but also my Achilles heel is that I will absolutely, if I feel energetically aligned, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it well. I'm gonna do it now. And I don't overcomplicate things. I don't overthink things. I just take action. So yeah, that's that. But I should say, and with that being said, as I continue to reflect more on what I want to share on this podcast, I've come to a realization that, you know what? Many of you are fellow career coaches, fellow leadership coaches, fellow interview coaches, fellow executive coaches, fellow salary negotiation coaches, all of the things, HR entrepreneurs, right? I can go on and on here. And some of the things that I have been asked in networking calls that I felt like, dang, this would be a really great topic to talk about on a Tall Glass of Sass is if I could go back in time a little over 7.5 years ago, and if I were to restart my business all over again as a career leadership coach, what would I do? What would I do differently? And so for today's podcast, that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about, or today's episode. For today's episode, that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about what are some of the things that I would do differently if I were to go back. Now, with that being said, let's just be real, right? Things happen exactly the way that it needs to happen for me to know what I know today. And that's the reason I can come back to you all and say, hey, through my own journey, my lessons learned, my milestones that I've been able to hit, this is what I like. This is what I don't like. This is what I would change. And again, this is a friendly reminder to you as well as to myself that our journeys are exactly the way it needs to be, the way that God intended it to be. So let's not make this out to be like oh no, I made a mistake and I should have done, no. That's not what we're doing today, okay? So with that being said, number one, if I could start my career coaching business all over again, what's something that I would change and do differently? Number one is learn sales earlier. I kid you not. Sales is at the crux of your business growth, whether or not you want it to be or you don't want it to be. The reality is this: if you want to be an entrepreneur, that comes with your ability to know how to sell. And, I worked with I worked with lots of coaches, but the one business mindset sales coach that I worked with, David Nagel, who is awesome, he said something to me that will stick with me. He was like, even if you hate sales and you want to hire someone on your team to do sales, you still have to know how to do your sales in order to train said person to do your sales. You know more about your business and your prospects better than any salesperson that you're going to bring on. better than any appointment setter, better than any lead generator. And so even though eventually you might want to outsource this, which is great if you want to do so, if you want to outsource this, great. And you still need to know how to do your sales. So that's going to be one of that's the reason why it's number one, y'all. For real. I mean, I was very intentional about my list. And the first thing that came to mind was learn sales earlier. So if you are, let's say, within your first, even for 1 to 2, your first and second year in business, and you are still kind of spinning your wheels in mud respectfully, you're still learning how to finesse your sales pitch, you are still learning what questions to ask on your sales call, you are still trying to attract in ideal clients, that kind of thing. Really lean into your sales skills. Get help with your sales. And that is one of the things that I actually coach my clients on in Catalyst. We actually did a 4-part, so we have group coaching sessions, and we did a 4-part sales training where it was four sessions back to back to back of all things sales, because I know that if I don't help my Catalyst clients to embrace their sales skills and to highlight where they have opportunities to close gaps in their sales strategy, sales process, sales skill set, sales vibe and energy and verbiage, yeah, we're not going to ever go anywhere. So that's that. Get your sales act together 100%. Number 2, I want to share that okay. Okay. I still am very much a recovering people pleaser. And I think that there was a lot of deconditioning that I had to do from not just HR corporate, but also with my Hmong American culture and traditions, the gender norms, all of the things that was handed down to me as air quote belief systems. And I was someone, like, if you look back, if you go all the way back and you watch my very first few videos, or if you read some of my content, it's like, this isn't Molly. Like, this is not the Molly that we know. And I own that. And again, it was a journey. I really had to lean into my authenticity. And so the second thing that I would have done differently if I could go back in time and restart my career coaching business is truly understand that my authenticity is my marketing plan. My authenticity is my personal brand. And as much as we like to separate who we are from our business, the reality is when somebody invests money in you, whether it's a couple hundred or a couple thousand to work with you, they want to know the person. They want to know who they're getting. They want to know what they're paying for, you know? And I really felt like, gosh, if I could have just embraced more of who I was and I understood who I am today so clearly, all I needed was just Molly being the real Molly, like the Molly that you guys all have today. This is who I am today. And gosh, if I could just transport and go back in time and be the version of me today back then, holy shit, I know that my marketing would be so spot on. I wouldn't have to think about it. It's just me, you know, I am my marketing plan. So that is the second thing that I would redo all over again if I could. Number 3, the third thing that I would redo if I could in starting my career coaching business is to lean into my strength as a speaker. Now, fun fact, some of you know this, some of you don't. In middle school, I used to be a part of our forensics and debate team. Now, in case you didn't have that, this was essentially a public speaking student org. And I don't know why I felt called to it. I remember, and I don't remember, I think her name was like, oh, I don't even know. I'm not even going to try. It was Miss S. I don't remember what her last name was, but she was my 6th grade middle school English teacher. And one of the projects that we had in school was to read prose. Like, we would take one of our books, that we read that we really enjoy. It wasn't a school book. It was like like you could do whatever, you could share whatever you needed, but it actually helped with our public speaking. And what I did was I loved reading. There is a book, and oh my gosh, I'm blanking on them. They're for a young adult. The author name starts with the Danielle, and I don't remember her last name. Anyway, I read this book and I loved it. It was about a teenage girl who had cancer. It was very like a walk to remember kind of book. Okay, love it. And so then I opted to read an excerpt from this book and discussed it in front of the class. Well, eventually, like we had like 5 or 10 minutes, right? I started talking in 15, 20 minutes, and my teacher cut me off and she pulled me to the side and she said, "Have you thought about joining forensics? Because if you haven't, like I highly recommend it. We have some tryouts for you to make the club. Like you still had to try out. They wanted to see what you're all about." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So reluctantly I did. And that was the start of my public speaking career, if you will, in middle school, 6th grade. And so that's one of the things that I wish I would have done 7.5 years ago when I launched my career coaching business, was to really lean into my speaking, because that is me. Again, this goes right back to my authenticity, who I am, what I'm not. And being a speaker really is a strength of mine. It's just one of those things that, man, if I could have leaned into my strength as a speaker, I probably would have been able to book so many more keynote speaking opportunities a lot sooner, and have learned that what attracts in prospects for me in my career coaching business, and now of course now as a LinkedIn business coach, is speaking opportunities. So that's definitely one of the things that if I could redo it again, I would 100% redo. The fourth thing that I would redo is I would rip the band-aid off sooner when it comes to video content and going on live. Oh my goodness. I don't know why I made it such a big issue. It just was one of those things. And again, this is not me like shitting on any of you. You know, like I think again, everyone needs to muster up their own courage and confidence to get there. But for me, being a speaker, it was like, hello, what were you thinking? Like, what took you so long to do videos, and what took you so long to go on live? And I literally did not incorporate video until almost, I want to say like 2 years into my business, because I was so nervous. And my very first videos, like I said, were atrocious. But I feel like in hindsight, if I would have just ripped the band-aid off faster, if I would have just said, you know what, I'm gonna do this, I would have gotten a lot further, and also a lot more content, really, if you think about it, if I was willing to do the video, go on live, do all the things. So definitely rip off the band-aid faster. It's just one of those things where it's like, you know, it's a part of your journey, because especially if you are a speaker like I am, videos and lives are so much easier than typing out content. Let's be real, you know? So just rip the band-aid off, my friend, and just do it. The fifth thing here that I would redo again is I would go back in time and really invest in myself and my business. And before y'all come at me, you're like, well, you're a coach. Of course you're going to say invest in coaches because you want me to invest in you, right? Like, okay, I'm just going to stop you there, because here's the thing. At the end of the day, my job is not to convince you to work with me. I'm going to be honest, okay? Whether or not you decide that you want to invest in working with me or with another coach is up to you. I know coaches, especially if you go back to number one, which is learning sales, you know that sales is a conversation. Sales is a sample of your coaching. It is not about convincing someone to work with you. Now, I will be so fucking real. When I started to invest in a business coach, I started to see the return on my investment. You want to know, which is going to be one of the episodes I'm going to record next. Do you want to know how I went from $270 annually in revenue to $105,000 annually in 1 year? It was because I invested in a coach. And hell yeah, I didn't have the money, so I put it on a credit card. And no, I'm not afraid of all of that. because I knew that I was investing in myself. And it was like an upfront deposit of learning the skills that I knew I could not do by myself on my own. Like, I do not understand why I had a DIY mindset for so long. I really did. And I mean, and I say so long, but respectfully a year. I got to a point where I was like, it was my ego getting in the way. It was my pride. It was this like, oh, I want to be self-made because I'm going to have a bigger trophy at the end, or someone's going to give me a big old gold star in validation because I'm self-made. And that was one of the biggest hiccups that I took too long to do, was investing in myself, investing in my business, asking for help. Because, yeah, DIYing shit is not for the faint of heart. And it's not made for me. It's just not. I should have known, okay? I should have known that all of these like artsy, crafty things that I've wanted to do, I have a pile. I mean, I don't know if you're anything like me and you got a pile downstairs in your basement or somewhere in the nook of your house where you're like, I'm going to do this craft now. This is going to be my new hobby now, whatever. And you never do it. Or it turns out to look nothing like the other girlies who are super crafty. Yeah, this is your sign. Why in the world would you try to DIY growing your coaching business if you can't even DIY a front door mat to go outside of your front door? Oh, anyway, that's me just being me. So again, investing in myself, investing in my business, asking for help, and not trying to DIY all of this. Like, I'm just not a DIYer. Never have, never will be. Okay. Number 6 thing, last but certainly not least on this list of if I could go back in time and redo my career coaching business, what would I change? I would understand, literally take a moment to understand the difference between working on your business versus working in your business. And let me just break it down, because in case you're like, Molly, I don't understand that either. Okay, so here is the difference. Let's start with working in your business, because I feel like that's slightly easier. Working in your business is client delivery stuff. It's you being a coach. So that's you showing up and doing coaching sessions. It's you providing email support for your clients, or whether that's Voxer support, tech support, whatever. It's you helping and serving your client the way that we are as coaches. It's you working with your clients. So it's working in your business is a lot of the client delivery stuff, okay? Like you fulfilling the contract that was agreed upon, okay? Working on your business is the CEO stuff. It is the aspects of why I am so passionate about working with individuals like you to close the gap between being a really great coach and being a really great CEO. Most of the time, client delivery and working in your business, for the most part, you guys got that handled, right? Like maybe you guys might need help with a little bit of time management, energy management, that kind of thing. But really, you guys were called, like we are all coaches or called to be coaches. So I never really ever have a client who's like, Molly, help me to be a better coach. Like very rarely. Most of us already know it's a calling. That's working in your business. Working on your business, like again, is the CEO side of things. This is the aspect of you, my friend, understanding how to use data to make informed, quick executive decisions when it comes to your sales and marketing strategy. CEO mindset also is included in this. In working on your business means that you are also working on yourself. It is personal, professional development. It means, again, your own coaching. It is, are you investing in learning the things that you know you need to learn to close the gaps in your business? Working on your business is revenue generating tasks. That is what separates you from being busy versus productive in your business. And of course, I won't be who I am as your LinkedIn business coach if I'm not talking a little bit about LinkedIn lead gen, in-mail sales sequencing, attraction marketing content. Those are all of the things that fall under the working on your business. It's planning your business for the future. It is working on your business for sustainable scalability. It's a little bit of CEO, CFO, COO, CMO, right? Like you are the whole damn C suite as a solopreneur. And so when you learn how to work on your business, that helps you to still, again, provide for that client delivery for working in your business, but that you are not going to stay stagnant and constantly spinning your wheels in mud because you are not thinking strategically about how to scale and move the business forward. Okay, so that's definitely one of the things that it took me a little bit to understand what that meant. But you guys have me now, so lucky for you. So with that being said, I do also want to share that for those of you who are still struggling with your LinkedIn profile optimization, I do have that workshop that's happening on April 22nd, literally for only 22 bucks. You get 2 fully optimized profile, one personal, one company profile on LinkedIn that's fully optimized. And you're going to get me. I'm going to walk you through it. So it's not like you're going to get some kind of digital course. You get me live, baby, and I'm going to walk you through it. So if this is something that you would like, if this is something you're interested in, and you are ready to go all in to taking care of your LinkedIn and setting that up for optimization and monetization, highly recommend that you join us. I will leave the information to register in the show notes. But all right, my friends, I hope that you guys gleaned some inspiration from this week's episode. And as always, I am sending you so much love. I am so forever grateful for you, sending you so much positive vibes today. I'll talk to you later. Bye.